to the Indie Wrestling Guy with your hosts, the Hall of Fame referee, JHawk, the not-so-mysterious benefactor, JGold, and the legendary Charly Butters.
So I got a phone call from our buddy Reese this week.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he right after, not too long after he called me, trying to catch up, and he pretty much ghosted everybody for a month.
Yeah,
where is he?
He's just doing his thing in Cleveland. He was just being low key for a bit, but he goes, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I'm like, sitting outside the hotel waiting to pick up Joel Gertner, and he just starts laughing hysterically, his laugh, and he's just like, "What even is your life?" And I'm like, I know, dude. I was like, it's Toyhio. I'm just waiting to pick him up so we can go get this signing on. And he finally came out, and we went to Starbucks, and he offered to pay for my Starbucks, and I was like, no, I don't drink coffee. He got Starbucks, and then we went to the venue, got him all set up, and he was very professional. He didn't leave the table to go shopping or anything. He just sat at the table, and
how'd he do?
He had quite a few guests. It wasn't as big as B. Priestley or Allie, but he did all right.
Is he cool?
Very cool, very cool. He told stories. He answered everybody's questions. When everybody was asking questions about stuff, he'd answer them. I mean, like a lot of it was like, "Oh, what was your favorite? Who's your favorite person to work with?" And he's just like, everybody. He's like, "I love working with everybody." He's like, you work with this person, you work with that person. He's like, they were always a blast. We talked about Shane Douglas quite a bit because he's like, Shane Douglas always tells stories, and he's like, he was supposed to catch a flight one time, so he stayed in my hotel room, and we ended up just staying up all night talking and telling stories. So he's like, he's really great, and just a lot of great stuff. I mean, he interacted really well with fans. He did a PG limerick for the show over the announced speakers, which was cool. It's up on Facebook.
Should I have him do one for this show?
Well, we might eventually have him on. I think he was amazing. Cool enough. I could probably definitely get him on. He made reference to like people's moms liking toys, so it was just pretty good stuff. It was real fun.
That dude was. I mean, what does he do? Do you know anything about like his shoot life? Like, where did they get him from, and like get him? Because like what talk about stepping in shit, Joel Gertner, like being that ECW ring announcer for so long.
Somebody posted a photo from when he trained, because he trained to be a wrestler, and he was stuff, and he was like from 95 to 2001 was his ECW run. And,
I don't know about his training or background outside of wrestling, but I know he was calling wrestling radio show far back at like 1989. Like he's always been a huge fan, and about parts of the business you could be in that era. So.
Is he a Long Island guy or a Philly guy?
I want to say Long Island. I know he used to call John Arecki's show when it had a really small signal. I want to say he's a Long Island guy originally, but don't quote me on that.
That's what I was thinking. I always thought that he was a Long Island guy. I know there was a few of them between, how Paulie and all those guys, all former New Yorkers rolling into that, ECW arena. But it's pretty amazing. Joel Gertner was some voice to remember those intros. I don't think anyone else could have done it. It just wouldn't have worked for ECW if he wasn't there.
Right.
And what about B. Priestley? How about she?
Super awesome. We talked about Japan, and I was like, hey, I have this like theory that any women's wrestler that wants to like become solid in ring needs to go to Japan and learn how to wrestle in Stardom because they hit harder and everything. And she's like 100% agree. She said, if you're a women's wrestler in the US, you should go to Stardom and train and wrestle there. She's like, I was there for 4 years. Yeah. She's like, she's like, some of them wanted to just try to coast on their name and were late all the time and stuff. But she's like, if you showed up and you worked hard, she's like, there are most of those people that did that are like at the top of the card at either company now. And then I was like, so like, how was it difficult to switch over to WWE? She's like, no, she's like, it was way easier because they basically nerf your style. So like, you're not doing half your move set. It's a very like basic style they like took a lot away from what she used to do to like what she, you know,
Which
did
sucks because that's what was cool about her.
Yeah,
That she had such a deep move set. All of a sudden, it turns into that shit.
Yeah, but at the same time, the WWE style look easier on the body, and
Right.
I mean, really, I mean, if you like, why a lot of the old timers are like, why you guys doing all that shit you don't need to do? But you're gonna fucking work longer if you don't do all that shit.
Right.
I mean that.
I just thought it was grumpy old men not knowing how to do any of that stuff. So they were just like,
I mean,
don't
there's
do
probably
any
a little
of
bit
that
of
shit.
that, but at the same time, like that's what the fans want. They don't want the, you know, unless they're specifically like that's what they expect out of WWE. Then that's what they're going to get from WWE. AEW fans don't exactly want that, so they're going to expect a lot of different stuff from them. So we'll see how that.
It was
plays out in
you,
the long
Joel
run.
Gertner, B. Priestley, and Allie, and anyone else?
That was it.
Ah, Joel Gertner was the big headliner.
Sort of. I don't know. Like B. Priestley and Allie were, like I said, they had the biggest line. Like Joel was like the first announced, but like he did the least of all the sales, but he still did enough. Like a lot of people that came to meet him were like really, really psyched to meet him because like they were like then the, you know, they had all the ECW memories and stuff. So
That's all I would do. He's that's like when I was at Wrestling Universe in Comac, and during COVID, and my wife and I went to like Home Depot, and I was like, Danny Doring and Roadkill are in that room right now. I need to go get a picture with those guys like immediately. And I could not have been happier to like see two guys and you know, that was, I think Danny Doring did a AIW, didn't he do at least one of those? Like I thought he did one around that time, but
I think he probably Doring actually did a bunch of indie around here, like not too long after ECW folded. No, well, I wouldn't be surprised if he did AIW at some point. But I actually interviewed Danny Doring in like 2002 when I was still just writing for websites. Coolest fucking dude ever.
yes, really cool. He was a chatty Cathy. It wasn't as much for Roadkill, but he was. Roadkill it still looked the same too, but Doring kept himself in good shape and
I
looked
feel like
pretty.
there was talks before about wanting to do Danny Doring and Levi Everett, and they never did. But because I don't think they ever did Danny Doring by himself in AIW. AIW didn't start until like 2007. So
Yeah, I'm trying to check to see if maybe he had done something real quick. But yeah, when I was interviewing Danny Doring, I'm like, okay, I mean, there's nothing on Cage Match for Danny Doring and AIW for the record. But I remember asking him, you're working indie right now. Do you have any long-term plans? He goes, yeah, I plan on having a nice, long, financial, fruitful career and then buying a strip club so I can meet my future ex-wife.
Listen, that's a classic wrestles answer from like a real pro right there. Those are such gimmicky jokes. Oh crap. Well, I played golf on Friday twice that day, and then we went out at 7 o'clock at night and got stuck behind this really bad threesome. And my friend who I was with got into a fight with this woman, and then she called him an asshole, and we started cursing back and forth, and then it was pitch black, so we barely finished.
and then you bombed Iran.
Right. Listen, it was a good
Surprise
it was a good day for it.
everyone! Surprise everyone! JGold is actually Donald Trump in disguise. Son of a bitch.
I don't wear red
Got
hats
away
on the
with it
golf
too if
course.
it wasn't for us meddling kids.
Right. And then we did the whole day at the public pool on Saturday, so that was fun. Do you have any public pools by you guys?
Sure, we have
really.
segregated pools in this area.
Still, yeah.
Per your laws.
Yeah. Public pools, not really. We have like the splash pad where there's like an outdoor area at a park where they've got like running water stuff going on. But
This one is very like 80s. Like they have like the grill where you get hamburgers and hot dogs and crap, and you know you can sit in the pool all day with it. Like the entire town can go. So that was definitely a very relaxing day. But nothing exciting this weekend. Like as far as like I watched the AIW show and that was about it. Like the AIW show was really good, by the way. We should talk about a little bit about that, Butters, because your champ and Alec Price put on an absolute banger.
So yeah, we're definitely going to talk about it. Because I want to talk about how I was running on 2 hours of sleep to get through Toyhio, finished Toyhio, and then went straight to Akron to be a part of the show and hang out with everybody and watch the show. And it was a really enjoyable time. So one of the other things I did want to bring up, because we were talking with B Priestley about it, was when wrestlers that are like super rich do like pay towards people's GoFundMe's and they leave their name in it instead of going anonymous so that they can like use it for clout.
Huh.
Not to name anybody, Chris Jericho. But it's definitely a thing that happens. And so like we were talking about that and how like how she like donates all the time, but she does it all anonymously to like different like animal charities and stuff like that. And to like different animal shelters, like she takes them beds and all that kind of stuff. And we kind of had a good chat about that. So she was really fucking awesome. Like I really want to talk with her more. Like I might have to try to reach out and see if I can get her on.
You should. I bet you she'd
fun.
charge us, unfortunately.
Maybe. I mean, we had such a pleasant interaction. It may be like, you know, a continuation of that. So we'll see. Allie and is like hardcore doing her podcast, Chainsaw Girls. So go check that out because they got some really fun episodes coming up.
Who's on that with her?
It's Allison Kay and her.
Oh, no shit. Yeah, I didn't know that.
And
all right.
we're in early stages of talking about maybe them coming and doing a live show in the area. So
wow, you could do it at Toyhio, yeah.
Well, I mean, Allison's out of Detroit and she's out of Buffalo. Allie's out of Buffalo, so it's like a couple hour drive for both of them. So it's not like it's super duper far. So.
Oh, that's very cool.
Might be something we do. So I'm looking into that. Allie me and her, we always hit it off and we always talk about stuff. So like we were just chatting about her new horror room she's working on and like just different stuff like that. She's always a sweetheart. And I got like my third photo autographed by her because like she has like so many good photos that I like. And so
I don't see any in your room there. Do you just keep those like in a folder?
Actually, if I turn my camera around, I have a wall of a bunch, and then I have a bunch over on this side. And I have more, like the wall that's behind here is actually mostly for people that we've actually interviewed or been friendly with, and then like some of my like super duper favorite people. So
that's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
That's a cool collection. I need to do more with like I have a lot of like art. Like less 8x10s and more like, you know, posterized art and stuff like that. I think I like that better than the solo off. I do have an 8x10 of Fonzie and Sabu, so that one I like. That's
when I get my new place, like I have a little bit of art for my grandma that I'm gonna hang up around the house, but like the vast majority of my art is gonna be like all these big 8x10 or like the bigger size posters and stuff that I have. Like I got a Samoa Joe autographed, this giant Samoa Joe autographed poster. I got a couple Danhausen ones.
Who was your friend, by the way, who made that art that I got? The Krang inside of Andre the Giant. It was like Bobby Heenan inside of Andre the Giant poster, and then the Reefer Madness, the Macho Madness one. Remember you told me it's like one of your artist friends,
Jedi Jack Yeti.
Oh, that's right. But yeah, I think I do have this cool Ricky the Dragon 8x10 that AIW sent out back in the day with their like Patreon packages. That one I like a lot. I don't, but I'm not an 8x10 guy by any means. I think more, an 8x10, more of the big poster things I think are the way to go. And like good pin boards are the way to go.
Yeah, I wasn't a big 8x10 guy, but then like now that I have I'm going to have an office because of the podcast. And it's like, I might as well have like 8x10s of like everybody that I've worked with and stuff like that. And like, it's just a good way to remember like who I've seen and that kind of stuff like that.
Do you have the Vic Vice pictures? Those two, the ones like behind me, like the Terry Funk punching Duke and the what's it called? Isaiah Broner and what's his name? Suzuki.
I don't, but Vic Vice is going to do a custom version of his trading card that I'm probably going to have a copy of. So,
speaking of trading cards, can't wait for more trading cards to come out. Right?
Yeah,
how's Wave 2 selling?
Wave 2 is doing okay. It's a very heavy Pittsburgh wave, so I expect Enjoy to sell a bunch. Like when I go down to Enjoy. Mm-hmm. But I did sell a pack of each to some people down in Pittsburgh. They just got them today, and they told me how much they loved them. Come to find out, she actually does cards for. She did the production card for Derek, and she did production card for Dom. So like she done cards that I actually own. So it was like she's like, oh, thanks for buying my cards. I'm like, well, thanks for buying my cards.
It all evens out in the wash. That's what happens.
So it was nice, nice catching up on it. And we talked about shipping and all that kind of stuff. So I made a new friend there out of it on Blue Sky. So that was super cool. It's actually, because I bet you'll know exactly who it is when I tell you too, because they're all over the place. It's the Crush Gals Photography.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so made a new friend, and they're like, well, I'll be in Joy, so come say hi. I was like, oh, for sure, because I will be there too. So
that reminds me, you ever talk to Tess?
I reached out to Tess recently and let her know that I was thinking about her and I hadn't heard from her.
Yeah.
And she didn't respond, but I did see that she read it. And then she did kind of come back online on Facebook and say hi to some people. And I commented on something she said recently about setting your air conditioning. If it's not lower than 73, then, you know, you're living in a terrarium. And I was like, mine set at 75. So I mean, she kind of responded to that. So like she's still there, but like it's, you know, she hasn't been to a show or anything. So I just hope she's doing well. So
I feel like it's been a while.
Yeah, she has a lot of ailments and stuff that like really take a toll. So it's
shout
hard
out
for
to
her
Tess.
sometimes.
That means at least we were thinking about her.
Yeah. Well, between that, living on this shithole planet, and
JHawk. Don't bring it down, JHawk. We're just doing
it. Before we get into shout outs, let's talk about this AIW show because it was one for the ages.
Yeah.
They started us off.
Well, are we going to review this one? We are, right?
I mean,
I thought that was on our list.
We can wait and do the review because it would be the beginning of July. We could do it, I guess.
Yeah, I wanted your opinion on the show altogether because I thought it was wild.
So I'll be 100% honest with you. I did not stay for the main event per what I said I wasn't going to because they keep doing those clusters in the main and I just don't care. Even though I love everybody in the match, it's just I don't care to see the multi-man whatever it is.
Okay.
It just doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah.
But I loved the opening tag match. Dom and Derek being the trainers of the school and then just going at each other's is very fun and interesting. Alec Price and Mikey tore the fucking house down. Mikey took an absolute fucking ass beating and kept ticking. Which he's all heart. I mean, we've known that for how long. This just proved it. And I thought they were going to team up because like there's such a lack of like valid tag teams in AIW right now. And I was like, give me Mikey and Alec Price as a tag team. That's some fucking fire right there. Like, I like that. But they did not team up. Alec challenged him to 2 out of 3 falls at Absolution. So that's where we're getting 2 out of 3 falls at Absolution. The IW guy title is not on the line as far as I know, until you make that nice down payment to them, JGold, and then it will be. I'm sure that can happen. That nice benefactor sponsorship money will make that happen.
We'll see. We need to get our name back on the program. I agree with you there.
But yeah, that match, regardless of how it is, it fucking ruled. I was almost about to be like, oh, well, I saw that now I can just go home. Cause I was like, I don't think anything's going to top that. Cause it was fucking excellent.
And the women's melees were awesome. Everything that they
Priscilla
put together.
Kelly, I didn't really think much of like her coming off her WWE run. She was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
She really fucking hit it out of the park during the second women's match when they all started brawling and beating everybody up. She really let loose, and I was like, all right, this chick's fucking down to fucking clown in the indies, so let's go. So cool for her.
Look, she is an indies. She is. She shouldn't. There shouldn't be any kind of constraints on her when she comes back to the indies. She is the original like shock jock, women's wrestler. So that should not be an issue. She should be ready to rock and roll, which is great that she is.
Hell yeah. So yeah, she was really impressive. So I was like, I might have to get a mark pick with her at Absolution now.
Wait, maybe I didn't see it. Was I wrong? Was Kid Cash supposed to be on the show?
He was.
Oh, I missed it. I'm pretty sure I missed it. Which match would I miss with him? He
was in the 4-way after intermission. He was him, Slim J, baseball
Yeah.
dinghy, and McVice.
Yes, I missed it. That's my fault. I gotta go back and watch that. Yep. Yeah,
And
I
shocking
knew something was
baseball
missing.
dinghy won it. I couldn't believe it.
They love him. They love him.
Yeah.
They love his moonsault, but come on now.
Yeah. Between him and Tyson Rigg, it's just weird though for the two.
Oh, they finally were smart with that too. Tyson Riggs turned on Kaplan and fucking sat out and let him get pinned by the Cosmic Cowboys, but
he did.
He fucking turned, baby. He's a bad guy now again. Thank God they were smart on how they did that. That was good. I was like, all right, fine. He did some cool stuff. I'll give him that. Like I know Stacy has been real high on Tyson Riggs too, and I'm just like, really, of all the guys in that class, like you really think he's stepped up the most? And he said, yeah, he said he's up there, but his kicks aren't always flush where they need to be, but like he has stepped up. I mean, he did some stuff that did impress me. I couldn't believe it. I can't believe I'm saying it, but he did. So
Man, bear, pig, kid running wild.
Yeah, man, he's there, I guess. Yeah, he's doing it. So good for him. Now he's going to face Kaplan again, though, probably, which ain't going to be good for him. So
that should be at
Abso, probably. Yeah,
Abso, and do a barbed wire ring for that one.
Oh God, no. Jesus, don't give them any ideas.
All right, if you can hear me out there, barbed wire ring, Man Bear Pig versus Kaplan, and let's
Jeremy's
see it.
Gonna punch you when he sees you if they do that shit.
Yeah, I'm going to take note of that just because they would have to take the rope down, put the barbed wire up, then take the barbed wire down, put the rope back up, and I don't want to be there till 1 o'clock.
Here's the
morning,
thing,
dude.
JHawk. If they were gonna do that, they would just start the show with it. They're
Probably.
smart. They're
That's
smart.
correct.
So
Yeah.
And also, you wouldn't have to be there that long. The last time they pulled everything down and put it up, it took less than 20 minutes because they had Pedro, and Pedro knows how to fucking wrap the ring right. So
Pedro doesn't crap
remember
around.
we had Derek and Derek and Bishop did it. So I mean, I've been privy to a no rope barbed wire match in my time. So
I miss me some Josh Bishop at the AIW shows. I do.
Well, you might see him at Defunct Pro Wrestling next year.
I'll go for that.
So.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you have to come into town for that. It'll probably be
that I will.
Because you're gonna help with it. So
I thought you were going to say because I'm gonna have to take a bump. I was going to say
no.
It's been many years.
JHawk's the only one that I torture with bumps.
It's been many years since I've done one, so in many different ways, bumps.
Key bumps.
Right.
Shout outs.
Let's do it.
Zach, the bagel monger, and Patty.
Hello.
Hey, Patty.
Patty, what's up? Hey, Patty, I don't know if you saw on Twitter, but the guys over here on the East Coast, Bagel Mongers, Buddy Struggles, they were in Japan, and they went to Ribera and all that stuff. I would like to see Patty in a Ribera jacket.
Question, did you ask him if he had to pay for his Ribera jacket?
He didn't get one. I don't think he got one. He would have sent it. I got to ask him. You know what? That's a good point. I'm so stupid that I didn't ask him. Let me ask him now.
What's on this weekend?
Over on the Triller TV, powered by Fight kind of thing, this coming Sunday, June 29th at 10 a.m. Eastern, I believe at 3 o'clock p.m. local time, Progress Wrestling, freaking Chapter 181, Far From Ordinary People, Progress World Champion Luke Jacobs take on Cara Noir, Progress Tag Team Champions The Gunshine Machine take on Lyco Jim, Lana Austin take on Kanji, Shotzi Blackheart against Nina Gabriel, Crick Ridgeway against Man Like Doring, Electric Falcon against Harley Barlow, and a four-way mayhem match, Kyman Miller versus Jack Morris versus Ethan Allen versus Charles Crowley. That is Sunday, 10 a.m. Eastern on Triller TV.
By the way, you're right. They only give Ribera jackets to certain people, Struggles just said. Okay. Sorry, Struggles. I thought you were going to get one. Anyway. All right, then over here on the Independent Wrestling Television Network, Freelance Wrestling versus the World. That's Friday, June 27th at 9 p.m. Eastern. It is Trent Wrigley versus Shazza McKenzie versus Nova Mars versus Blair Onyx versus Davina Thorne, and they have another mystery combatant, Isaiah Velasquez versus Alfonso Gonzalez, Chico Suave versus Sabin Gage, the team of Cox versus White Meat. Okay. Calvin Tankman versus Darius Luttrell, Mustafa Ali versus Coda Hernandez, the Freelance Tag Team Championship, Home Cooking versus Bangin' Matthews, and the Freelance Wrestling Championship, Devin Monroe, the champ, versus Reagan Lydell. That is 9 o'clock Friday night. And by the way, my kid is going to sleepaway camp as of Saturday. So this is it for her. That's the end of her wrestling summer. She'll catch up when she gets back. In case anybody wonders, I think that freelance show might be the last one we watch together before she leaves.
That tag match sounds like something a 13-year-old would have come up for a fucking EFED.
Doing interviewing.
Bueno. Esta semana tenemos nuestra prima. Don't shake your head at me, okay? I'm listening. Trying.
Don't embarrass
Luchadora
us.
Pegasus. See? There. It did it.
I think she was waiting for you to finish. She was like, there's something there missing, like several words. I'm pretty sure.
Probably. Right. It's Google, so I'm still learning.
Well, welcome to the show. What a great way to start.
Thank you. You gotta forgive them. The gist of it Spanish is Yo quiero Taco Bell. No.
Yeah. They're JHawk. Snapping with the jokes again.
Well, at least it wasn't a joke from a show from like the 70s. We're good.
I could pull those out if you need to. So
we did 90s. It was just close, I guess.
Close enough.
We'll take it.
Sure. So go ahead, Butters. Lead us off.
I hyped you up to everybody. You do some translating before we dive into all your wrestling work. You did some translating, and you actually did translating at a show that I was at, a Wrestling Under the Stars show, and you did translations for Commander and Vikingo. So can you tell us how you got into doing that? Where do we start? How do you get to be a translator for them?
So as everybody in wrestling knows, you have to pay your dues. At that time, I was a still fairly new wrestler. And I'm always looking to help. I'm always asking hey, how can I help? And it just so happened that day they didn't have anybody on the show who spoke Spanish, and Commander speaks a good amount of English. Vikingo, however, did not. So they kind of needed somebody who can translate and be that language barrier for them.
So how do they approach you for it now? And also, by the way, if anybody, we're not visual, but she's in full gear, lucha mask, the whole thing. So we're not going to know any of that stuff. We're keeping it as professional as possible. So how about how did that come about where they were like, hey, are you in full gear at that time, or are you just kind of working, the other way?
So no, I was not in full gear. I didn't have my mask on at all. I kind of go incognito at shows. So a lot of times if people see me, they don't even realize that they see me. How that happened is that there was a promoter from another show there who also speaks Spanish, and he was leaving early. He was supposed to be, I think, the original translator, and he had to leave out early. So then they were like, hey, I know a girl. She's here. She's going to be here all day helping out. So she can translate for you, because the biggest obstacle with that, I think at the time, was the ref. The ref couldn't understand them calling their match, and the ref didn't want to get in the way of them. So they needed me to step in and just kind of help the ref understand what they were saying.
Oh, wow. And so what was that like? At that point, were you relatively young in the business? As far as mentality and everything, were you like, wow, this is how did I do this?
Yeah. So I think that was right before my debut. So that was right before I even debuted.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of helped me get a great connection with them. Even till this day, I still have a very good relationship with one of them because of that show, all based off the fact that I helped them translate. And that's really what I've learned with wrestling, is that it's very social. So that helped me kind of get a one-up on that aspect of things. And it's always great meeting people. Vikingo and Commander are both very nice, and it was pretty sweet meeting them. So to be able to translate for them was pretty cool.
So you say that was just after your debut. So how long ago was that? Give us kind of a timeline of your.
I've only been working for about a year and a half now.
Okay. And where was your
so not
training?
Long.
So where did you start off?
I trained at IWC in Pittsburgh.
Oh, another IWC grad. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I if you don't want to say it, you don't have to. But where did you grow up, and what got you to wrestling? So now, I mean, and especially in the women's division, it's hard. It's a lot harder. I mean, we're not going to fool ourselves, and it's very difficult. The world of independent wrestling for women wrestlers is difficult. So what made you want to go in that direction? Were you a wrestling fan growing up? Give us that kind of background.
So I originally grew up in Texas. I moved when I was about 4, and I moved to Pittsburgh with my entire family. It was me, my brothers, my sisters, everybody. And we had moved to Pittsburgh because my dad had gotten a job offer. So we moved up here. My brother is the one who got me into wrestling. So I was about 6 and he was watching wrestling. He's my older brother. He passed away back in 2020, unfortunately.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Sorry.
Thank you. So kind of I just grew up with him. My other siblings were not into wrestling. And my brother then, when I was 10, took me to be Undertaker.
Wow.
So that was a really cool experience for me, just getting to meet him in person. And that kind of kicked off like, hey, I could possibly do this for the rest of my life. And then when he passed away, right before he passed away, he was talking about training. He wanted to try it out and wrestle for himself. And then he passed away and didn't get the chance to. So then I kind of just took over for him. If he can't do it, then I can do it for him and kind of carry our names through this.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. So what was he exposing you to at the time to get you like going? Like, what did you, because I mean, you're so young in the business. So what was he showing you that you're like, yeah, that's me. I want to do that.
So I'm really big fan of China. Undertaker, obviously, because when I met him, I was a young kid, and he kind of just left an imprint on me, seeing a man that big, and he was so nice. And I was like, I can do this. I was intimidated at first because I thought, like stars would be like kind of mean or standoffish, but he was honestly one of the sweetest men I'd ever met. So I was real big on China. Shawn Michaels, I saw him do a bunch of cool things that my brother was watching back in the day. And I was like, oh, that is neat. I don't think I could ever do that. But then if I challenged myself hard enough, I could, and that's kind of what kicked it off. Is those are the 3 main people. And then as newer wrestlers started coming in, like, and I see like newer luchadors and stuff like that, like I was like, I can definitely do like flips and I can do the lucha stuff. And so I was like, oh, well, I might as well give it a try. And I kind of just stuck with it.
Wow.
Okay,
So go ahead, JHawk. Sorry.
Having lived in Pittsburgh and the surrounding area most of your life, how much actual lucha have you seen, and like any of that inspired you?
So I actually have gone to Florida and a couple other places to train lucha. So especially now, I'm getting ready to go like to California next month and everything like that. And I have shows out there, but I'm also doing a week of training out there with just lucha, because like in my class at IWC, there wasn't a lot of lucha doors there. I don't know if you're familiar with IWC, but there's not a lot of lucha people in IWC.
We are. We're familiar with them, sure.
Yeah, there's lucha like styles in there, but there's not luchadors themselves in IWC. So it's kind of harder for the training aspect. My coaches try to like bring people in that showed more of that lucha style just for me specifically, because I was the only one in my class that at the time was trying to work lucha. So any chance or opportunity I get to go travel and train at another place that has those like opportunities, has those type of styles, things like that, I try to just go and do it.
You trying to tell me Derek Dillinger is not a luchador? I could swear that he flies around like a luchador. I'm just making sure.
Derek has helped me with a lot, but he definitely is not a luchador.
No one would confuse him with.
Okay, you're really like a lucha. They work the other side of the body too. Like I don't think Derek used to work in the right side of the body.
Oh, do they? I didn't realize that. Oh, okay. That's awesome. I didn't realize. I learn a little something new every time. JHawk, go figure. All right. You want to keep going?
If you got more, I cut you off.
Yeah, no, that's okay. That's okay. So you get to IWC, and when we talk to younger wrestlers, we like to kind of hear your journey like first before we get into like as where you are now. So you get to IWC, and what was that like for you? You took your first bump, and then what was that like?
So the tryout was probably one of the harder things I had done in my life. When I tried out, I had just had a baby. So I'm a mom. So I was a new mom. My child was 6 months when I first started wrestling.
Wow.
So the actual physicalness of it was very hard for me to catch back up to it. But I've been an athlete my entire life. I've done sports throughout my entire life since I was 6. So The bumping it was not fun. It took some time for my body to get used to that motion because nobody's used to that motion. That's not something you just do naturally every day. So it took me some time for that. The moment that helped me know I was going to become a luchador is how quickly I adapted to the ropes. So I adapted a lot quicker at a faster pace than a lot of the other people in my class at the time. And that's kind of when the idea of me working that lucha style came up because of how quickly I did adapt to the ropes. But as far as my tryouts, they definitely, IWC was a rough tryout, but it was needed. There was 22 people in my tryout, just about, and only 11 of us made it out.
So were you always, did you go to the tryout with the mask, or did you decide, the mask was later?
The mask came later.
Okay. And what made you want to do that? What made you want to do the mask side of things?
So a part of it was I kind of wanted to incorporate my culture a little bit. I am fully Latina. I am Mexican. And I also loved the idea. My end goal was originally to go to Mexico. I want to wrestle in Mexico. That is one of my major goals right now. And it also, for this area, you don't see a lot of masked wrestlers. You see a couple here and there. So I felt like it was something that made me different.
Okay.
So that's kind of how the mask started.
Was it weird the first time you put it on?
Yes, it was very weird. So my first mask ever wasn't my custom made mask. This is my mask. My first mask was a mask that I bought off a line just to see how I can move in it, how I can breathe in it, how I can do my emotions in it, things like that, to see how uncomfortable it was. And it took me about 3 months of wearing it every single day at practice to get used to it, because then I had to wear it in 90 degree weather, and then I had to wear it in 50-degree weather, and then 30-degree weather. So I wanted to see how my body adapted to it before I officially was working matches with it. So the mask was definitely a process, but I don't think I would want to change it. I have grown to love this mask. I feel like I'm more powerful in it. I feel like I'm more brave in it. It makes me have a lot more confidence, and I can't explain why.
No, I think we've heard that from other people who've been under it for a while. That kind of becomes part of your personality in and outside the ring, not in both spots. So does your family come and watch you? Is your family excited? So tell us about your first match and what your thoughts were and how'd that go?
So my first match was a title match. So right off the bat, IWC threw me in there with their women's champ, which I was so grateful for. It was against Holly Dead. And she was great. She was super great. A little spooky. Her entrance is a little spooky, but she was absolutely great. And I mean, there was some mistakes in there, but I honestly couldn't have asked for a better first match with the way it went.
Why'd they throw you in there with her?
Stuff and things like that. So IWC at the time didn't have a lot of women, and I'm not sure why. Katie was there that day, but I'm not sure why. They just put me in there with her, and it just happened to be a title match because she was the woman who held the belt at the time.
And so what was your family thinking when you went out there? Did they talk to you afterwards? What was the reaction?
They were freaking out. So my family has watched WWE on and off, but they haven't been as connected to it as me and my brother were growing up. So my mom was in tears because she was freaking out that she just saw me do all this crazy stuff, and she saw me get my butt beat and all this. So she was in tears. My dad thought it was cool, just being my dad. And then my other brother, he decided to tell me after the match that he taught me all the moves I know as a joke because he did used to wrestle me when I was younger. So they reacted well. And then I had my nieces and nephews there. My daughter was there. She didn't know how to take it. She still doesn't know how to take my matches sometimes because she gets scared because she knows it's mommy in the ring under the mask, because she gets a little scared. But then sometimes she's like, yeah, mommy, go mommy. So that always kind of gets me through it.
Are you already thinking of, hey, how am I going to get my kid into the ring?
So we were at a show a couple weeks ago. She came with me to a show a couple weeks ago. And before they took the ring down, they had let fans get in and take pictures and all that. She would not leave that ring. As soon as she got in that ring, she would not leave it. There was older kids in there. They were probably 13, 14. She's trying to roll around with them. So it's going to be a challenge, definitely, getting her out of a ring now that she's been exposed to one. She's told me that she wants to wrestle, and she's only 4.
I get it. JHawk and I talk, we're both parents, and my daughter wants to do it. She's going to be 10, and she's already talking about finding a school. And, I get it. I can't even imagine what would go through my head in her first match, but that is that's honestly got to be a great feeling, though, to know that she's paying attention, right?
Yeah, she definitely is. She cheers for me. Sometimes she says that I'm being bad, because sometimes I am. But for the most part, she just is absolutely astonished by what I'm doing in the ring. She didn't realize that her mom was capable of doing what she does.
I mean, that's pretty awesome. So you have this match against Holidead, and then what's the next? What follows it? Because I mean, your first match is a championship match. So what was it like after that? Then you get in with, let's say, somebody who was not as polished as Holidead. So how did that go for you as far as your progression?
So my second match, I got lucky again on my second match. I wrestled Lexus Sin. I trained with Lexus Sin. So we kind of know each other's style. We complemented each other very well because we trained together. So I knew what moves she was working on. She knows my moves. So that match went pretty well.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. I think IWC kind of gave me that leg up in a sense because my 2 matches did go so well that I got more opportunities right off the bat. So my first 6 months, I was pretty much booked up back-to-back weekends, and not a lot of people could say that when they're newer in the business. So, I'm forever grateful for them because of that.
So you were back-to-back at IWC, or did you start getting calls to go somewhere else? Have you left the area as far as that goes, as far as matches go, etc.?
Yeah. So my first 6 months in wrestling, I tried to stay a little bit closer to home. I've been to IWC. I was at Rise for a while, OCW out in Ohio. I've been to AIW a couple times, and I'm just trying to get out there. As far as this year, I'm going to Iowa and California, and I'll be in Texas for a match, and I'll be down in Florida. So I'm definitely getting out there a lot more because of the work I've done more local.
Interesting. Butters?
She's debuting at Neo Pro in July against Jessica Havoc. So that's something to look forward to.
Oh, boy.
For the title.
For the title, anything goes.
Are we doing skewers and tacks again in that match or no?
I have no idea what we're going to do.
Oh, my God. You could do that would be great. You attach thumbtacks to the top of your mask, and then you could throw some headbutts around. So
that would be good.
You can have that one for free. I'm just throwing out ideas while we're while we're working. Butter, sorry.
No, JHawk, go ahead.
Okay. All right. So you mentioned you've done sport and you were what kind of sport were you doing?
So I played soccer for a while. I did gymnastics. And then I ran track and cross country. When I ran track, I was mostly a hurdler. So I was real into the hurdles for a while. And that's actually what I got into college for originally was hurdles for the track team. But I've mostly been a runner all of my life. So any sport that kind of involved running in any sense, I was a part of. I tried to be part of everything if I could.
Okay. Now, how do you think that background translates to your wrestling?
I definitely think my stamina is a lot higher. If I didn't have that background, I would be in a whole different spot right now. I think I'm used to my body going through the weightlifting and the cardio and constantly dieting and things like that. I'm more used to it because I came straight out of high school doing that into adulthood because I became a wrestler shortly after. So I think me not having that time to stop, because a lot of people stop and then they find wrestling later on in life. I think me not having that time to stop and me just carrying that momentum directly from high school when I was 18 to now helped me tremendously. It also keeps me very routined, very scheduled as far as my diets go and my gym days go. I've been doing the same thing since I was 18 or 19 years old. So that's definitely helped me as far as discipline goes with being in sports my entire life.
Okay. So as far as learning lucha, you mentioned you're training wherever you can in that style. But I mean, who are you watching? Who are you studying?
So I study Commander a lot. I study the Las Toxicas, and then Stephanie Vaquer recently. She's been kind of higher up on my list to watch. And then, believe it or not, I watch a lot of Joshi and Japan wrestling. and try to mix that with my lucha style, because I'm very fascinated with Japan wrestling for women. I think it's great. So I'm trying to find like a good balance to mix New Japan and Joshi and all of that with a lucha style that kind of fits me.
Okay, and then
Sorry, Jack. Let me just jump for that real quick. Are you a little bit more of a historian, or do you just kind of watch what's on since you've gotten into it? Do you watch everything, or do you just solo in on a couple of things?
So right now I'm kind of watching everything because everything comes in a cycle. I'm looking for new things that people don't really do anymore. I'm just looking for a style that suits me best and a way to mix it with not just lucha stuff, but that way I can incorporate like strong style wrestling and Japan wrestling and all types of wrestling into one person, which is me. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do right now. I try to watch like 80s wrestling. Somebody sent me a 90s French wrestling clip that I have no idea who these two guys are, but I've watched it because it's something different. Like a lot of the things they were doing was a lot of different chain things and things like that, because back then in France, I guess that was the big thing. So I'm kind of just watching any and everything I can get my hands on as far as wrestling goes to try to learn from every little bit I can.
okay, now how are you juggling being a mom with wrestling? I know that I can parent myself. I know trying to juggle that can be a heavy balance. So
It is. There's some nights where I'm not getting home until 3 a.m. and my daughter's there asleep, and it's hard as far as not always being there. Now that she's getting older, a lot of my more local shows, she does come to them just to spend that one-on-one time with me. That way I can still wrestle and still be a mom. We do schoolwork on the road a lot of times. I also have a very good support system. So when I have a show, my daughter, if she has cheer practice or soccer practice, my mom can take her or things like that. And I try to make it to all of her games, because right now with her being so young, a lot of her games are during the weekdays, which I'm not wrestling on. So we try to have a balance to where like she travels with me most of the time, unless it's to a bigger state. Like when I go to California, she won't be going with me. When I go to Texas, she won't be going with me. But as far as like around this area, if it's in a 5-hour radius, I try to get her in the car with me and get her on the road with me, so I can still be that mom for her. I can still help her with the homework at the shows, and I can still wrestle on top of that.
all right, let's go ahead and go ahead, Jake. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Sorry. I'll come to that later.
Well, no, I'm completely changing the subject.
Yeah, that's fine. I got something else too. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, no problem.
I want to kind of get away from wrestling a little bit. What are you doing to unwind when you're not in the ring?
The ring takes up most of my time. So I paint a lot. So I go home and paint. I have like a little art studio. I love art. I read a lot of books, go to a lot of libraries. I just do what everybody else does to kind of unwind. I do go on runs a lot, especially now that it's warmer. Any chance I can to go on a run, I will. If it's not raining, I'm out there running a mile a day, every other day, whatever I can if I'm not in the ring or at the gym. And then on top of that, like I have my daughter's sports events, and that's kind of relaxing for me, even though it's like chaotic for her and chaotic for me on that aspect of things. It's relaxing seeing her have fun and get to do what she loves, because all the other days I'm getting to do what I love. She needs to do what she loves too. So I genuinely love being a parent, even though it's stressful with everything, as we all know. I genuinely wouldn't have it any other way. I love being a mom and seeing her face every day and getting to be with her almost every second of every day is what gets me to kind of relax. Just being in that state with her is kind of just how we unwind. Going home, playing dress up with her and playing kitchen with her, and that's what it does it for me.
Right now, do you have a favorite type of book that you read? A favorite genre that you're reading?
So right now I just reread all the Harry Potter books. I was recently in Orlando and I went to the Harry Potter universe. So leading up to that, for the past couple months, I've reread the whole Harry Potter series. I'm real into that, anything like that. Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars. I grew up on Star Wars my entire life. Star Wars and Harry Potter is what my siblings were really into for a while. So it took me a while to get into it, but as I got older, I got into it. I just finished Sherlock Holmes.
I love Sherlock Holmes.
So
One
that
of my
was my most
favorite
recent
characters.
book that I
Nice. Very good.
My dad loved him when I was younger, so he got me really into Sherlock Holmes for a while there.
I'll watch any Sherlock Holmes, young Sherlock Holmes, Enola Holmes on Netflix. I watched Elementary on CBS, all that stuff. Anything Sherlock Holmes related is fantastic. It's a great universe of like villains and mysteries and stuff like that. Definitely. Sorry, JHawk.
Yeah, I'm real into like anything fantasy and anything mystery. I'm all there for it.
All right, now I'm going to ask this question here. We actually had a debate in one of my Discords the other day about the Star Wars prequel. Do you like the prequel, and which of the prequel is your favorite?
I can't pick one favorite. I like it, but for me, any of the newer things that Star Wars has done, like Andor, things like that, it doesn't exactly live up to the originals. I remember when I was a kid watching the original Star Wars movies, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And now watching any of the newer movies or shows, I'm like, oh, like this is cool because it's Star Wars, but it's not nearly the same feeling as when I first watched the Star Wars movies, the original movie. I don't know if it's, I think they did very well with the casting. I just don't know if they put the story together properly, or I don't know what it is and why I don't like it as much. I can't exactly pinpoint that.
I can't believe you didn't like Andor. That's probably the best, besides the first season of Mandalorian. I think Andor and Rogue One are the best Star Wars pieces they've done since the original trilogy by far.
I just couldn't get into it. And like at the time, I was also wrestling a lot. I was training a lot. So like, I don't know if by the time I came home, I was just kind of checked out of it. I never kind of gave it that shot again. But when I first watched it, I just couldn't get into it. I don't know why. Now The Mandalorian, and I love The Mandalorian. That is one of the newer shows. I guess it's newer. It's not new. That's one of the newer Star Wars shows that I got into.
Well, I mean, you probably, if you were wrestling a lot and you got all those smelly nerds around, you probably got tired of nerd stuff and you wanted to, get away from that a little bit. I get it. I get it. I think you should, when you go back, watch Andor again and give it a shot, because that episode of season 2, when the massacre, is one of the greatest episodes of television I've ever watched. If I will say so, it's fantastic. Give it another shot.
I would definitely go back and give it another shot.
Butter?
Oh, I have one question before we go to Butters. Okay, so as a female wrestler, talk to us about your feelings on what the landscape is like on the indies for a female wrestler. What are you feeling as far as opportunity, and as far as what's the word? More of a how do you feel that the female indie wrestlers are being treated as far as nowadays? Is it difficult as far as getting time, getting what you think you're owed, getting the matches you want? Like, what's the landscape like for you right now?
So I do get a lot of opportunities just being a woman in general. I've noticed that a lot of my male friends don't travel as much as me. They don't get flights booked as much as I do, things like that. And it is based on the fact that I'm a woman. I will say that now. But it also, because there's less women in indie wrestling than there are men, like I do get a better opportunity, but that also means that I kind of have to be a little bit more honed in on my talent. I have to be a little bit more perfect to kind of show why I deserve to keep this spot over the next woman in line. There's definitely a lot more women coming in the business now, which is going to be great for the future. And right now, like WWE has some great women's rosters. There's just Mexico, all the companies in Mexico have some great women's talent. Japan always has had great women's talent, things like that. So it definitely is harder on the aspect of I have to train 10 times harder to make sure I'm one of those women that have one of those top spots one day. But as far as opportunity goes, with me being a woman and there being less women in the business, I do get more of an opportunity to practice my talent, to get those reps in, to get those matches in, and I have more of a chance wrestling a name. So that helps me as an indie wrestler, that I have more of a chance to wrestle somebody that has a bigger name than I do right now. So that definitely, it's better, and it can be slightly harder on certain aspects as far as like I have to be a little bit more, I have to stand out more and things like that.
Did anybody while you were training talk to you about it? Did you have anybody who gave you some advice as far as women wrestlers coming through IWC or anything? Say anything to you like, hey, this is what I'd love for you to look out for X, or hey, when you're doing this is where we think this is where you should go, or this is what you should do as far as your value. Anybody give you that kind of advice?
Yeah, so I've had a lot of people, specifically like Katie Arquette. She's given me a lot of advice on women's wrestling because she's one of the best women's wrestlers in this area that I've seen. She's always given me a lot of advice. She's one to pull me aside after all my matches and give me critiques, tell me what I did right, what I did wrong, what could be better, like what I need to work on my next match. She always gives me very specific things. And like she was just on TNA a couple days ago. So to me, like her word is like, absolutely, like, thank you so much for the advice. I'm looking forward to wrestling her hopefully soon. But she's always helped me. I'm now getting trained with like Derek Dillinger and Dominic Guarini. They have helped me change my like style a bit to where I can turn up the heat a little bit. I can be more intense. I think that is very important with women's wrestlers, is that a lot of women are afraid to get hit, or they're afraid to hit the match or things like that. Because we're smaller or we're more dainty. That doesn't matter. The way I trained and the way my coaches trained me, there was only 2 girls in our class, and we trained the same as the men did. So like, I'm not as scared of being hit and things like that. I mean, everybody knows what it's like to get hit. It hurts. Yeah. Everybody knows what it's like to fall or take a bump or something. Even if you're not a wrestler, you can relate to those feelings because you've been into a fight or something. So that's kind of just how I was trained, and how Katie and Derek have definitely helped me a lot the past couple months. They've helped me turn up my intensity. I wrestled Jocelyn Navarro twice now. She's definitely one of the most intense women I've seen. Yeah. It's very hard, but it also makes me turn up my heat and how hard I'm going to hit and my intensity and things like that. So I'm grateful for them both. They both have kind of helped me on that level.
It's interesting you say that, because I've heard too here, we have a few friends who are in promoters and friends of the show, and some of the guys that I've heard, their one complaint and the reason why they book certain women wrestlers is because they look like they are laying it in, and they're not holding back, and they're throwing forearms, they're throwing kicks, they're throwing suplexes around, and they said, you want people on the card who are going to be believable. You don't want to hire, and unfortunately, maybe that is a stereotype of women's wrestling. You want to find people who are willing to lay it in, not really, not hurting each other, but you want to see it with believability. And I think you're right when you say, you want to get your heat up a bit, and wrestling Jocelyn is a good start. Wrestling Katie is a good start. You're going to get hit, So that's interesting you brought that up, because I have heard that, from other promoters that say, the reason they book certain women's wrestlers is because they lay it in. They want to see it look like they're wrestling.
Yeah, it doesn't matter like your size. I've seen a lot of people say, "Oh, but I'm little. I'm 4'11" and I'm about 135 pounds." I still have to lay it in. I'm trying. When I step into that ring, I'm trying to win a fight. And that's how you really have to look at it. If you get into a fight on the street, you're not just going to let somebody hit you and not try to fight them back, And that's how I try to look at wrestling anytime I step into that ring, is that this is going to be a fight. So you have to be intense. If not, then you're just getting your butt whooped. And what's the fun in that? People want to see you fight. Yeah.
You might have a gymnastic background, but you don't want it to look like gymnastics. You want it to look like it's kind of actual competition.
Exactly.
Butters, sorry, go ahead.
Let's start with, since you've been a bunch of places, let's go with Waffle House, Sheetz, or Wawa.
If I have the option, Waffle House always. I like a good breakfast, and after wrestling, sometimes that greasy food is a go-to. So definitely Waffle House if I have the choice, and then Sheetz, and then Wawa.
Okay.
What the hash brown order?
You said what's my hash brown order?
Yeah.
Cheese, and then sometimes I get ham just for the extra protein, but I like ham as long as it's not like direct bacon. But sometimes if I'm going to Waffle House, I'm just going to get all of the bacon, so it doesn't matter. But definitely cheese and ham in there. That's my Waffle House hash brown order.
What is the weirdest or the coolest place that you've wrestled?
Oh, one of my favorite places to wrestle right now is RWA in West Newton. I think that's outside of like IWC. I think that's one of the coolest places I've wrestled. That crowd is so interactive and they're so fun, and it's so easy to do my job there. I can go out there and just wrestle, and I know it's going to be a good match. It's going to be a fun crowd. Like, it doesn't matter. So that's definitely one of the coolest places I've been to is RWA so far. As far as weird go, I've been to some, I can't even like remember names of certain companies. I've been to some shows out in West Virginia.
You did 880 too, right?
I did 880, yeah.
Yes.
So 880 was where I got a lot of my first couple matches in outside of IWC. Because at the time I was living in Pittsburgh still, and I definitely got a lot of opportunity there. I wrestled Chris LaRusso. I wrestled with Chris LaRusso, things like that. I wrestled a lot of people there. So I got opportunities and connections based off of that. And then from there, I started hopping in cars to go to other shows and so on and so forth. So 880 was definitely, it was a fun place. It was a learning grounds for me. They're doing great right now. So I'm proud of each one of them growing and figuring out who they are and everybody I started there with. So that was great.
So one of the weirdest places might be actually in July when you get to wrestle outside of a strip club, or possibly inside if it's raining. It's definitely a unique venue, and I'm curious to see, because I don't think we had JHawk. Was there a women's match on the other show?
Yes, there was. I know they were actually fighting on one of the
it was okay. Yeah, there was one women's match on there, and they used the pole in the match. But outside, it'll be a little bit different, I think. But it's a really nice area, and I think that you and Havoc are gonna have a really good match there. I'm excited to see that. But yeah, weird venues is like you said, West Virginia definitely has a couple of the weirdest venues to wrestle in. I know a lot of people wrestled in like Charles Manson's like elementary school.
Elementary school, yeah.
Derek will tell you all about that's the crack den was in the school, like in a room.
I know one company I work for, they wrestle outside of a Buffalo Wild Wings in a parking lot.
Yes.
And that was so random to me because I could just get wings and then go wrestle. So I thought that was pretty cool. It definitely was a different venue for sure.
They do that out here at this place called Lucharitos out in Eastern Long Island, and they did a show in Cardona's his podcast was the sponsors of it, and they had a ton of guys outside of the Lucharitos doing wrestling. But I mean, I don't know how interesting that is, but yeah, that was outside the taco place, I guess is what's up.
Yeah, parking lot, strip club, movie theater.
I think if you have enough pipe and draping, you could do a parking lot show and make it interesting. I don't know. We have a B-dubs up here that's in like a giant plaza that would probably be pretty fun to have a show in.
I want to do for my 50th. I want to rent a ring and have it in my driveway, and like just have all my friends and just have a show, like a paid, like do it. No tickets, no nothing. Just have everyone set up in my driveway and do a match. I show.
I actually did a 50th birthday last year. It was in somebody's backyard. It was a fan who paid for AIW to use their ring and their wrestlers. So I did an AIW show, and that's actually one of the shows I wrestled Jocelyn on. And
see, I would do that. That's great.
It was very strange being in this person's backyard because this is somebody's home, and he just like had us getting dressed in like his garage, and then the girls had like their own private bathroom and things like that.
Hold on, I'm writing it down. Hold on, I'm writing it down because you guys are all coming out here in 2 years for my 50th. So I'm writing it down. We are definitely going to have people, except they won't change in my garage. We can use a guest bathroom for that one.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Weirdest dressing room you've ever been in. But I know the early Dropkick Diabetes show, the locker room area wasn't big enough for everybody because they had a bunch of guys changing in somebody's fucking trailer in the back. Did you ever have any weird venues, like any weird dressing rooms like that?
There's been shows where they just have like random like small tents set up outside, and a lot of the outdoor shows are when dressing rooms get weird. I did a West Virginia show a couple months ago for I don't even know the company's name right now at the top of my head, but their dressing room for the women was like, it looked like a horror movie. It looked like somebody was going to get kidnapped down there and kept down there. It was like a dingy basement, and there was like one light on that kept flickering, and then there was a mirror in the middle of the room. There's just a single mirror, like one of those little just single face mirrors in the middle of the room, and then there was 4 chairs. And I was like, I am not getting dressed here. This is creepy. It did not look good.
That almost sounds like the basement at 880 when I was down there for that. It was very like a dungeon. There was very one light.
Yeah, I've been to the 880 basement. I never got dressed down there though. I always went to the bathroom and got dressed there.
You should come out to the Mecca in Ridgefield Park, New Jersey for shows. They get dressed in a room where they host quinceañeras, and sometimes during the matches, the kids who are having their quinceañera, they come up and watch the matches. So,
that's great. I have my dress. I could definitely pull mine out. I can still fit into it for sure.
You never know when you're going to need it if you come to the Mecca and wrestle at the Mecca, because there's quinceañeras, there's weddings going on. They wrestle above it. It's amazing.
So speaking of studying Japanese wrestling and that kind of stuff, and being a mom, if you were offered the opportunity to go wrestle for Stardom for 3 months, do you think you could leave your daughter for 3 months and train in Japan? So
I've actually had this conversation because I've had a couple different things come up over the past couple months for next summer. So with that being said, I would. So my daughter has a full-time dad. She has another parent that is full-time in her life. She also has a step parent. He wrestles as well. And I have a very good support system with my mom. So if it came down to me potentially giving her a better life by going to wrestle in Japan for 3 months, I would. It would be a time barrier, but we would figure out like FaceTime schedules and things like that. And then until I would come back, she would be with her dad or her stepdad or my mom. Like, I do have a very good support system, and I got lucky with them. I don't know what I would do without them.
Yeah, I talked with B. Priestley over the weekend, and we talked a lot about like people going over and training there and how you could train here in America, but there's something different about how they train women's wrestlers over there, to where, like, you know, as you talked about, like being able to fire up and do more stuff, like there's a certain way they train that, like, they just hit harder, they make their hits look harder, that kind of stuff. And she said if anybody gets the opportunity to go and just be prepared to work super duper hard. She said that, like, there's a lot of women that have gone over and they try to coast on their name or just kind of do whatever, and they will flush you out real quick. So hopefully you do get that opportunity, because I hear it's an amazing opportunity to go there and do stuff. And she'll probably be back over there, because the rumor is that she's going back. So you may get to work with her, and then there you go. So
that's the goal. Is I'm going to aim for a summer in Japan to train and to wrestle over there just for one whole summer. And then I also have some potential Europe bookings that I'm looking forward to.
Cool.
So I'm kind of in negotiations with that and everything. So I'm just trying to not just be in the U.S. I want to wrestle all over the U.S., but I also want to get out of the U.S. to wrestle.
So is like your number one goal, like Arena Mexico? Is that like or is it like Madison Square Garden? Is there one arena that you really want to wrestle in that, like, would be the top, the highest point that you could imagine?
Not one arena specifically. There's obviously companies that I have on the top of my list that I am striving for within the next 10 or so years. So like there's not one place that I was like, oh, this happened here. It's more so that I attach myself to the wrestlers themselves, and like what the company stands for is kind of like, it's important to me. Like WWE, when I think of WWE, I think like legacy. They have so much history behind them. Like CMML has so much history behind them. People in companies like that, to me, just, I'm looking for the history. I'm looking for that legacy. I'm looking to know, hey, if I go here, I know I'm going to get treated well, but then I'm also going to have that legacy behind me and things like that. So if my daughter wants to wrestle in 14 years, she has a starting point because her mom kind of has paved the way. That's kind of the goal, is that, like, I love wrestling. I would love to do it full time, and I'm getting pretty close to being able to do it full time. So I'm grateful for that. But as far as one arena, no, there's not a single arena.
Guys, you got anything else?
All right. I was very curious about my one question about women's wrestling. I enjoy listening to you explain all these and kind of go through this. You are a rarity, I would say, in the what do we call it? Midwest?
Mm-hmm.
You know, as far as lucha goes. So I think people better start taking notice and working, as JHawk said, working the right side, right? So let's I honestly, I think it's great. And you know, I think you going out west is a great idea, and going to Texas is a great idea. So, you know, I think it's definitely interesting to hear. I can't wait to see, you know, in a year you come back and tell us, you know, after you've crushed it, and you tell us what you're doing after that. So, yeah, right now I think I'm good. Butters, JHawk,
I'm good.
Okay, so you want to give us your socials and all your plugs and where you're going to be, and talking about the tacks and skewers and barbed wire baseball bat match you're in?
Yeah. So, well, tomorrow I'm at the Rubber Duck Stadium, so that's pretty cool. That's a different show for me. I'm wrestling underneath Mega Wrestling, so that's going to be a fun show. I have the match at Neo Pro next month. I will be at NTLL, which is out in California, in August. Then I'll also be at Honor Among Wrestling in August, which is out in Iowa, I believe. So I have a couple bigger shows coming up and a couple different opportunities, but I'm just taking all the opportunities I can as much as possible. And then, of course, I do midget wrestling, so I'm always traveling with them and on the road with them.
You do?
Yeah, this is a whole other conversation to be having right now. Back it up.
Whoa.
All right,
we got to extend it a little bit.
You said it so nonchalantly. Of course I do midget What? What are you doing? You're a talent, or you're working what? Like, what are you doing?
I'm a wrestler. Yep, I'm a talent there.
But aren't you bigger than all of them?
So technically with midget wrestling, I'm only 2 inches over the legal midget limit. And a lot of people think I'm much taller than I am, but I'm not. I'm very short and tiny when I'm in person. Butters can attest for this because he's seen me in person. My pictures don't do me justice for how little I am. So a lot of times the ropes, no matter what ring I'm in, hit the back of my neck.
Oh.
So it makes it look like I'm 10 times smaller than I am always. But with midget wrestling, you have to be under 5 foot, and I am right under 5 foot.
God damn. So what do you do with them? Like, are you the champ? There should be nobody stopping you.
No. A lot of times I wrestle like Zoe Sky. I've wrestled her a lot there.
Zoe Sky is in midget wrestling?
She's under 5 feet tall, yeah.
Holy shit. Oh my goodness gracious.
Yeah. So it's Midget Wrestling Warriors, and it's run by Short Sleeve Samson.
Of course it is.
Dude. Great dude.
Yeah. Yeah, he really is a great dude. And he took a chance on me when I was still newer in the business, and kind of has been giving me that platform to help shoot me off. So super grateful for that company. It's always a great show with that company. It's always a great crowd with that company. So anytime I get the chance to work with them and travel with them, I will.
If I see him at Cauliflower Alley, here I am name dropping you. Hey, what do you think of Pegasa?
Oh my goodness. I think that is fantastic. I need to watch more midget wrestling. If you could be 4'11", there's definitely some monsters then wrestling, I guess.
Yeah, but if you're 4'11" in midget wrestling, you're kind of like a powerhouse. So I do a lot of power moves in midget wrestling.
Oh my God, you abandon your whole moveset to toss them around. That's ridiculous. I love it.
Yeah, I get to do all the moves that I don't get to do on everybody else with midget wrestling. And
yes. You're like, hey, who wants to take a jackhammer? Let's go.
At least to the best of my knowledge, we no longer have promoters that are having guys that are like 5'2" wrestle bow-legged because they look like they're under 5 feet. That used to be a thing.
Oh, is that a thing?
That used to be a thing.
JHawk is a historian. Not only is he a Hall of Fame ref, he is a historian and can tell us these crazy things. Yeah. Jesus, I didn't know that either. So you're telling me Tiger Jackson was walking around bow-legged, or he was really a midget? Tiger Jackson is
well below 5 feet tall.
I'm just making sure.
I mean, they would be no-name shows in the middle of nowhere. Like I couldn't even tell you what promotions they were at this point, but it happened.
Yeah, all right. Well, listen, that rules, and that makes it even better. Now I have to look you up on the midget wrestling circuit too. Holy moly! All right, Butters, why do you look so disgusted with me? I didn't know.
No, I'm just thinking of JHawk's talking about people wrestling bow-legged, and I was like, just think if Isaiah Broder wrestled bow-legged just to beat up midgets.
He sticks the sneakers on his knees. He comes in. Don't look behind me.
Just see him just toss up like a pizza.
Well, my God. All right. Thank you for that. I wish you didn't hide that nugget at the end. Oh, my goodness. We could have had another hour of this. Fantastic.
If I would have known about that, I would have acted a lot earlier in the conversation. Yeah. I'm not going to lie.
He snuck it in there at the end. Well, and I worked in midget wrestling too. Oh my God. Well, hell.
So JGold,
fantastic. Yeah.
So you have continuously announced yourself for the next set of cards.
Yeah.
IW Guide Series 3.
Yeah.
I guess we should probably ask Pegasa, do you want to be a part of Series 3 trading cards, the IW Guide trading card set?
With me?
Yeah, I would love to, of course.
See? There we go.
All right, there. Now she's going to be on a trading card this summer, so you can look forward to those.
This is a good wave, Pegasa. I'm telling you. You and me, and I think it's, I'm not allowed to tell anybody else. Am I, Butters, or can you tell people?
I might have said it before. You can go ahead and say.
So we're going to have Cheeseburger and Gary J. And who's the fifth? And Pedro.
Is Pedro going to be? Actually, it's not going to be Pedro. Pedro's in another wave, but it's going to be Malcolm Cambridge.
Oh, Malcolm Cambridge. Oh no, I'm sorry, Zay Garcia. Oh no, Malcolm Cambridge. That's right.
Yeah.
So we are in good company. So I mean, you're probably like, what the hell am I getting? Wait till you see mine. That's all. I am very excited.
Yeah, Derek has come up with some ideas for what he wants to see for
no,
his
but I
card,
told Derek
so.
he can't use those ideas because you have to see my face. So anyway,
I mean, you could probably do one of those like where you kind of turn around and you can see the back and the front.
Maybe I think we have the photo down, but
you could do the George Costanza, right? You're perched.
Sure, that's what my wife wants to see. Yeah. She'd be like, "Don't put those in the neighbors' mailboxes, please."
You can do the Joe Hendry before shot. It's fine.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh, anyway.
All right. Anyway, plugs.
More plugs. More plugs.
I think she's got more plugs.
Oh, go ahead. More plugs.
What are your socials?
Yeah.
My Instagram is _Pegasa. My Facebook, because it makes me put like the first and the last name, and my name is just one word, is Peg, P-E-G, and then the last name is Asa. So if you just type in Pegasa, it pops up like normal. And then my Twitter is also, it's _La Pegasa.
Right on.
JHawk.
Yep.
Follow me on Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, and Blue Sky at RefJHawk, Instagram at JHawk1539. I don't have any actual bookings until like July 19th. So I'll be at Enjoy on July 5th with Butter hanging out, but I'm not actually working for a little bit. I'm taking a little bit of time off. So.
All right.
Yeah, I got just crazy vacation coming up, so nothing going on until the end of July when we got the Neo Pro show, and then we kick it into high gear for a couple months with all that craziness. Cheeseburger's coming back, Gary J's coming back, Mikey's defending the belt all over the place, so we'll be traveling a bunch to defend at places. So it's going to be a super fun time. July is like cram packed, and August is starting to get packed up too. So
July
very excited.
Yeah, July is crazy over here on the East Coast. We got ETU Summer Madness coming up in about 2.5 weeks, so we'll be at the Mecca hanging out with the ETU crew. And then I'll get to it, but you can find me on X, Twitter, Instagram, whatever at JGold12. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to us, and our Twitter handle IWGuide1, Blue Sky IW Guide, and Patreon.com/IW Guide. Don't forget about the merch store over Brainbuster Tees with all the new designs and Gorilla Press apparel. Our pal Will. Listen to our podcast friends. We are part of the Main Event Wrestling Network, the Wrestling Junkies on the Mark Wrestling Podcast, and my show Tuesday nights 10:15 NXT Night Shift. It is live every Tuesday night on Netflix. I mean YouTube. NXT on YouTube. Sorry. Yes.
He's getting ahead of himself. He'll be on Netflix soon. Just watch.
Please, I would love that. I would love it. With this face, I would love it. Anyway, also August 1st and 2nd and 3rd for SummerSlam weekend, my co-host Kyle on Mr. OTM on the Mark Kyle, he's coming to New York for SummerSlam, so we're going to be together going out for dinner and such. So we'll probably record a little bit. Who knows? And then you can listen to our other friends at Odds with Wrestling. The Card is going to change, the Super Fantastic Podcast, and Marks with Mikes. Check out our other friends. Time Capsule Toys, Toyhio, Rubber City Toys, Neo Pro Wrestling. Oh, Lord, I just lost it. Okay. OKCR Creations, Stash Pages, and Pally's Beef Jerky from our very own friend Kaplan. That's all I got.
All right. As I always say, life's short, watch more indie wrestling.
See you.
Don't forget to review and subscribe wherever you listen to us. Find us online at Facebook and Instagram at The Indie Wrestling Guide. And on X or Twitter at IW Guide 1.